Hey, you're listening to episode 133 of the Keto Diet Podcast, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm sharing the audio from a bonus interview that I did with my friend, Dr. Lisa Koche, and sharing a bit of insight into how to find a keto doctor. This topic means a bunch to me because I struggled finding a doctor to support my keto ways when I was first getting started, and there were a lot of arguments in offices as I tried to defend myself with my doctor. And I don't recommend doing this. So today's episode is going to go through how to find your healthcare team that can support your keto journey. And if you have questions about today's content, go to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and ask me. Also, we put together a podcast extra and transcript for today's episode, which you can find at healthfulpursuit.com/podcast/E133. I've got one cool thing for you today, and that is that my newest cookbook, the Keto Diet Cookbook, hits shelves April 9th, 2019. It's a complete roadmap to preparing keto meals based on your hunger level without having to rely on macro counting or calorie tracking, complete with 141 recipes made from whole foods and zero fancy ingredients. Plus, each and every single recipe is a complete meal with balanced keto macros. And when you pre-order, you'll be entered to win a $500 keto pantry bundle, complete with everything you need to make fat burning your number one priority. To enter, all you got to do is pre-order the book by going to ketodietbook.com. Then once you've pre-ordered the book, go back to ketodietbook.com and click on the free with your copy link at the top of the page. Enter in your details and you'll be automatically entered to win. The bundle includes cooking essentials like almond flour, cacao butter, cacao powder, erythritol, keto baking mixes, shredded coconut, hemp seeds, nut and seed butters, coconut milk, gelatin, collagen, bone broth, lard, pork rinds, avocado oil, ghee, cacao nibs, chocolate chips, chia seeds, apple cider vinegar, and a whole bunch of keto snacks too. You can pre-order the Keto Diet Cookbook by going to ketodietbook.com. There are a bunch of ways that you can pre-order, and the giveaway is open until April 8th, 2019. So when you get your copy at ketodietbook.com, head back over to that page, click on the free with your copy link, enter in your details, and you will be automatically entered to win. Good luck! Okay, let's do this thing. Welcome to the Keto Diet Podcast, the show all about keto for women so you can burn fat, balance your hormones, and heal your body. Starting and maintaining keto can be challenging without the right support. So just for listening to the podcast, I want to give you 20% off the keto beginning with the coupon code KETO PODCAST. That's all one word. This 30-day program gives you a clear step-by-step how-to so you can quickly adapt to a ketogenic diet, avoid common struggles, and get the results you crave. Go to healthfulpursuit.com/begin to get your keto beginning discount today. If you're new around these parts, I'm Leanne Vogel. You may know me as the international best-selling author of The Keto Diet, founder of happyketobody.com, or maybe you know me as the nutritionist that likes dipping pork rinds in avocado oil mayo. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Thanks so much for listening. Our guest today, Dr. Lisa Koche, is triple boarded in internal medicine, bariatrics, and anti-aging, and regenerative medicine. Her own experiences with childhood leukemia and heart failure from chemo led her to focus on the cause of medical conditions rather than treating the symptoms. She is the medical director and founder of Spectra Wellness Solutions, a comprehensive clinic focusing on all aspects needed for total body healing, including the ketogenic diet, hormone replacement therapies, and enhanced mitochondrial function. She has built a team of gifted healers that work together to create individualized treatment plans. She has several signature programs for optimal performance, including the Ignite program featured in her first book, Get Lit. Dr. Koche has lectured nationally and has been featured on numerous radio and TV segments. And Dr. Koche is also an expert in my Happy Keto Body program, and you can find out more by going to happyketobody.com. Okay, let's cut over to this interview. I'm here with Dr. Lisa Koche. We just recorded a podcast episode that's going to go live on the Keto Diet Podcast, December 2nd, 2018. And in our conversation, we chatted a little bit about finding a doctor to support our ketogenic diet. We also chatted a little bit about maybe perhaps we're expecting too much from our doctors, how to become our own wellness advocates. So Dr. Lisa, thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. You have an open invitation anytime you want to come over.
Awesome.
So let's chat a little bit about our healthcare, because you've definitely done a great job at educating me on what to expect from a doctor. And I know that before I met you, I was quite discouraged in the health and wellness space, especially when it came to doctors. I've met with so many doctors that were sort of like, okay, well, goodbye then, so it's challenging when you don't understand bodies and you're going to somebody who you think should have all the answers and they don't. How do we navigate this as people who just want to have a healthy lifestyle?
So it is a tough one because, we don't go to medical school thinking that we want to come out pushing drugs and not having any answers. I was unusual because I was gifted many disease states at an early age. So I had to kind of navigate the medical field even before I went to medical school, being diagnosed with leukemia at age 15 and then having heart failure from chemo, Hashimoto's psoriasis, and many other problems that kind of have continued.
Back to today's episode in a sec. Today's episode is sponsored by Key, whole food keto bars created with love by a solo lady keto entrepreneur. I first tried Key bars during sailing training, where taking a break for lunch was not in the cards for the entire crew. First bite and I was hooked. These are whole food keto bars. No fiber fillers, no sweeteners, no stevia, no sugar alcohols, just collagen, gelatin, cacao butter, coconut, chocolate chips, and a couple of other whole food ingredients for real food flavor. You can actually taste the ingredients. There are a couple flavor variations of the bar. My personal favorite is quad chocolate because it's nut and seed free. However, Kevin's favorite is chocolate chip. You can try yours today by going to healthfulpursuit.com/KE and using the coupon code Leanne10, that's LEANNE10 for 10% off. If you're unsure of the link, simply check out today's show notes for all the details. Okay, back to today's episode.
So when I got to medical school, my favorite question was why? And, to my dismay, I would be rounding, or as a resident, I'd ask the attending, okay, we're treating this patient this way, but why? And really nobody had any answers. So it was surprising to me. And what I did was decide to choose a path that I thought would give me the broadest answers, which was internal medicine. And I think if we look back to step one, as far as where the disconnect in our current medical model is, it is in medical school, because you have the smartest and brightest coming in, excited, typically empathetic people. And then they're kind of discouraged to go away from like primary care and pediatrics and broader options because the pay isn't as good. It's not quite as sexy. It's, when you can be a specialist, you get to do all these cool things. So a lot of times people will go into specialties because there's answers, there's direct treatment, and they can get paid better. And so that's where the first, I think, disconnect is. And when you go into a broad thing like internal medicine, I was left kind of finding the answers myself. So then I was able to create my own type of residency. And this was back before a lot of the integrative training was available. And when I first dipped my toe into integrative medicine, I was like, this is what I'm looking for. So the good news for your listeners is, today there are huge societies like American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine and the Institute of Functional Medicine, where people can look up on their websites. They can type in, I think, their zip code and find practitioners that, at the beginning should at least have a more broad base of knowledge in terms of some other answers besides just the traditional model, which tends to be medication, drug company kind of mediated.
And how do we go a step further by finding somebody who maybe doesn't understand keto fully, because we can find so much online and with different programs like Happy Keto Body and others, but just somebody that maybe respects the ketogenic diet and won't be like, what are you doing? Ketoacidosis, you're going to kill yourself. How do we find a doctor that will respect that and work side by side with us? Do you have any tips?
I think that's a great question. And I think inherently it's going to be a little bit tough, only because the rapidity of the research coming out, how fast it's come out with, if you look at about 5 years, that to have a doctor, especially if it's more of like a primary care or an endocrinologist, to expect that practitioner to be really up on the research it's tough, because if they're not self-motivated like I was with, heart failure needing mitochondrial repair, so I found the ketogenic diet that way, a lot of them are not going to take the time or have the time to really understand it.
Back to today's episode in a sec. Today's show is brought to you by Four Sigmatic. Years ago, I was addicted to caffeine and it wasn't pretty. Multiple pots of coffee is what got me through the day. And if I didn't have enough, I'd suffer through headaches. If you want to get off the caffeine roller coaster like I did, try Four Sigmatic coffee. It has half the caffeine of the other stuff, but tastes like the real deal. What's the secret? Think of it like a 50-50 mix of coffee and unicorn dust brought to you by the power of mushrooms. Mushrooms have been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries to treat fatigue, sickness, kidney disease, and low sex drive. Their coffee is a blend of organic Arabica coffee and mushrooms focused on increasing brain power, lowering stress, energy boosting, and more. You can use the coupon code KETO for 15% off all things at foursigmatic.com/keto. Unsure of the link? Check out today's show notes for all the details. Okay, back to today's episode.
So what I would do instead is say, your listeners should be the bringer of the information. I mean, if you have a doc that you're connected to, and that would be the goal, obviously, even if they have no idea what the ketogenic diet is, if they're scared of it, whatever the case may be, if they immediately say no and shut off with anything you bring up, you need a new doctor. Okay. Let's just be clear about that. But if you have someone open and connected, bring them a little bit of information. Maybe just tell them to check it out and let them make a decision, because the amount of people finding the ketogenic diet in spaces other than through their practitioner obviously far outweighs the doctors that can handle the questions that are coming with it.
Yeah, I think that's such a good tip. It's very much like you have to grow with that healthcare practitioner. And I think a practitioner that's open to learning, even though they might not understand something, like myself, there are a lot of things I don't understand or I don't know yet. And when a client or somebody comes up to me and they're like, blah, 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 this happened, I'm like, really? And then that sparks me to want to learn more, and I'm learning more from my client. And that's such a gift. So I agree with you that just finding that good relationship is a base. What words of encouragement do you have? I'm sure you've come across this a couple of times where patients come to you and they've lost complete trust in the healthcare system. What do you do in that circumstance?
Okay, so absolutely. And I think it's a fine line between where is the patient in all of that. So it's very easy to go right into kind of what I like to call victim mode, where everybody is sort of out to get you, but also there are true, terrible interactions with practitioners as well. So I think we kind of try to reset that, where can we just move forward from today? Whatever interaction that was bad in the past is that practitioner's issue, not yours. And are you ready to be, to let go of those experiences, step into your own personal power and, work this as a team together? I think that's where the patient's perspective and attitude has to be for it to be able to work after bad experiences like that.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Dr. Lisa, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know that this conversation is one that a lot of people get stuck up on, and I've met so many people that just avoid going to the doctor because they're just sick of dealing with this. So I think you offered some really great tips. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks so much to Dr. Lisa for recording this bonus clip with me. I'll put links to her social media, website, and resources in the podcast extras and transcript. And if you'd like more from Dr. Lisa, I actually did a recording with her back in December of 2018, podcast episode 114 called Make Your Keto Better with Dr. Lisa Koche. So head on over there and check that out if you want to listen to more. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again in a couple of days to discover more keto for women secrets for your fat-fueled life. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.